camp family, it's Nurse Lulu with Camp Summit at Home, and today we're gonna do some recyclable planters. I'm really excited to show you these because I just love gardening, all things plants and garden. But first, before we get started, I wanted to take a minute to just take a deep breath with you guys and relax. I know sometimes things are a little bit stressful right now, and we're really missing normal camp family happenings right now, but you can always just listen to the breeze, listen to the birds, take a deep breath, and put a smile on that face and go about your day, right? So let's all take a nice deep breath and listen to the birds while we do, okay? Hold it for just a moment, and then breathe back out. Oh, it's just so relaxing. Okay, so hopefully you're feeling ready for this project, ready to go. I have lots of different examples for you here, so I'm sure that you have at least one of these things at home. And if not, I'm sure that you'll have one soon. These are very common things around the house. Our first couple of planters are for things that I would want to put outside in a garden at some point, or maybe replant in a bigger pot at some point. And then our second couple of things are more smaller things that I would probably want to keep inside most of the time. Or you could do a larger planter, recyclable planter like this, and have it outside. But anyway, things that I'm using are a cardboard egg carton, cardboard rolls, plastic fruit containers, plastic water bottle, scissors. Again, get help with scissors if you normally have help with scissors. Some coffee filters, string, seeds, of course, and some water and dirt. So I'll show you lots of examples, and then you can see what you have at home and what you want to do. Maybe replay the part of the video that you need for your planter. All right, so first one is the most straightforward, easy one. It's just a cardboard egg carton, not the styrofoam ones. You could use a styrofoam one, but you would have to pull the plants out of it eventually, unless you're gonna do a really small plant, like an herb, like basil or oregano. But if you're doing bigger plants, you want one of the cardboard egg cartons. And that's because these are so cool. You can put your seeds in them and start those seeds inside where they're a little bit more protected so they can grow a little bit, get stronger. And then you can cut along the lines of the carton and just plant them in the ground. And over time, they'll break down in the ground. Now, cardboard things like this and like the toilet paper roll can take a couple of months to break down. So really, even with these, you're doing a big help for the environment by keeping them out of the trash. But also you're saving yourself some money, right? Because you're using these and saving those seeds. I really love growing things from seed, and I've enjoyed this season getting to grow things from seed, because not only does it save me money from going and buying the whole plant, I get a lot more seeds for the same price, but also I just love putting it in the ground and watching it grow. It's really, really a great feeling to get to check on it and see how much it grows, see all of its progress, and know that I've created something good in the world, right? So that's the first planter. Very straightforward. You put your dirt in, put your little seed in, put some water on, water it again lightly when the dirt looks really dry, and in a few weeks they'll be bigger like that and good to go outside. You can keep these outside in a spot that's not too sunny if you don't have a good spot inside. I really like doing these on a windowsill. That works really well for me. They get some good morning light, but not too much of that harsh afternoon Texas sun. The next planter that I have for you is made out of cardboard rolls. So you grab your cardboard rolls, and then you don't have to have a plastic fruit container that's this big, or even one that has a lid. Anything to keep the rolls together will work just fine. But I like this type of box with a lid on it, because then I can close the lid and it helps keep some of that water for inside the plant. It stops it from evaporating out into the air, keeps it inside with the plants. It's sort of like a really tiny greenhouse. And that of course helps the plant stay moist and grow a little bit better. So for these, your normal toilet paper roll, you just take your scissors and make 4 cuts that are about 1 inch long in the bottom. So I did, the top, the bottom, and then directly opposite on the sides. And then I just folded the pieces in like that. Fold them all on top of themselves. And then stick it in with all of the other ones, right? And just put your finger in the center, make a little dip, drop your seed in, cover it up with some dirt, or get some new dirt if you want, and cover it on the top. Make sure you don't bury your seeds too deep, because then they have a harder time growing up to the light. Water it and close it up. And then again, you can put this in a windowsill or outside, not in full sun all day long, but in a place where they'll get a little bit of sun in the morning. Morning is great, or maybe a little bit of sun in the afternoon, but not in the heat of the middle of the day. So those are the first 2. And just like the first one, the second one, once the plants are a little bit bigger and stronger, you can just take the whole roll, the whole toilet paper roll up out of here and plant it in the ground. Then just get dirt level with the top of the roll, and it'll break down over time for you, so your plant can be nice and protected before it goes out into this fun all the time. So those are the first 2. Now, this next one is same kind of concept as the big toilet paper roll one, but I did a smaller plastic fruit container because I put an herb in this one. So I put some basil in here. Now these are nice for if the roots are going to be a little bit smaller, like with herbs. The plant's not going to be really, really big, because of course it's harder to take things out of this container and plant it in the ground. You have to fiddle with the plant roots a little bit more, and that can hurt them. So these are good if you're going to leave the plant in them. Now, what's really nice also about these plastic containers is the holes along the bottom. So they make sure that your plant doesn't sit in water if you accidentally put too much water in it. It lets that water drain out. So that's a really nice thing about them. The unfortunate thing about that though is if you're keeping it inside instead of outside somewhere shady or in a greenhouse, then you really want to watch out for that water that may pour out. So I would put this on something else that would soak up that water, a bowl, a plate, even another plastic container that just doesn't have the holes at the bottom, and maybe put some paper towel or some coffee filter underneath so that it's not just sitting flat in water. But there you go, there's another planter idea. And then finally, the one that I'm most excited to show you, that I've had the most fun with, is this little self-watering planter. So self-watering means that at first you put some water on the top of it, but after that you just put water in the bottom, and the plant will draw water up to itself when it needs it. This is really great because then the plant's roots aren't sitting in water. There's less chance of you putting too much water on, and there's also less chance of the plant not getting enough water, because you'll be able to see in the bottom of this how much water it has left, and it can just water itself when it needs it. What's also nice about self-watering planters is that the plant has to grow better root systems to get water deeper down. Plants that are watered from the top can just grow their roots along the top of the soil, because the water's just coming to them from the top. But that means that they don't have those good root systems that go down into the ground in case it gets really hot and they don't have enough water, just like happens here in Texas. It can be so hot sometimes. So having the water down at the bottom where the plant reaches down with its roots to go get that water helps the plant grow a stronger, deeper root system and makes it a little bit hardier. So you can make these with any size bottle you want. I made one with a little teeny tiny bottle for this sunflower seed that I planted. But I have, to make an example with you today, a typical size water bottle. You could, if you have a really big plant already that is in a pot and maybe struggling with not getting enough water, you could move it into a big, like 2-liter bottle. So for this, you'll need a bottle of some size, some dirt, some seeds, some scissors, coffee filter, and yarn. And then I also brought this little shish kebab skewer to help with the yarn, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. So I like to take the label off of my bottle. I'll do that first. And then you cut the bottle about halfway through. It's easier if you take the lid off first. It's also easier if you kind of fold it a little bit. You could do this with a knife. Get help with that for sure. I like scissors. I think they work just fine. Again, if you need help with scissors, then get help with the scissors for this project too. But carefully make a first cut in the bottle, and then instead of trying to cut all the way through with the bottle in half, I like to put my scissors inside the bottle, and then you're only cutting one layer at a time. So got it. Cut my bottle in half. So this half will go like that, and then there will be water underneath. Okay? So you can use the lid. If you have somebody to help you put a nail through here and make a hole for the yarn, then you can do that and put the lid back on. I find that it's easier to put coffee filter in the bottom of this top, what was the top part of the bottle, to just put coffee filter in there. And this way we can still put our string through, but we don't have to worry about the lid. And also, I think the coffee filter will help pull water up to the plant also. So put a coffee filter, fold it up, or you can rip it into little layers like I did, into the bottle there, push it toward the lid, and then you'll get your string ready. So the string, you can really use any type of string, but for me, some kind of cotton is better. So your, typical yarn, because eventually it will break down in the plant, so that it won't be a big kind of nylon plasticky thing in the plant. So I like a couple of layers of string. And you'll need a different amount of string based on the size bottle that you do, but mine, I folded up a couple of layers and they're just a little bit longer than the bottle was. So around the loop to end that's still together, I'm tying a knot. I really hope you guys can hear those birds. They sound so great. Camp has so many cardinals all over the place right now. They're beautiful. We did have a lot of Indian paintbrushes around the campgrounds too, so those are of course bright red, just like a lot of cardinals are. So I tied my knot, I've got my 2 loops, and then I'm going to make my hole in the bottom of this filter. Carefully, of course. get help with this if you need this. Sometimes it takes a little work depending on how many layers of coffee filter you used. So I've got a hole there. I know it's hard to see, but you'll see where the yarn goes through in a minute. And then I'm using this skewer to help push the yarn through the hole. And once I get it through a little bit, then it'll be easier to pull the rest of the way through. So I talked about how great self-watering planters are, and they really are. They're wonderful for plants. They're a lot easier for people to keep plants healthy and properly watered. And so they're usually more expensive in stores. And so again, this is just a really great way to save some money. So I've got my strings coming through my filter at the bottom like that. And I've got some loops still here at the top. And I'm going to put my dirt in now. Move my scissors out of the way. And I want to make sure that the loops, the reason that I put the loops through at the top and that I have loops is so that they're easy to grab. I want the loops to come nice and up through here so that when the plant uses the string to pull water up to it, it doesn't have to work so hard. The loops will be higher and they'll help pull the water higher up. So while I'm putting dirt in, I'm making sure that my loops are up higher like that. So the way that this works with string or yarn, and I've also seen them done with all kinds of fabric, it's basically the water that's at the bottom. I'm just gonna pour some in here. You can do lots of cool science projects with colored water and string, mixing them together. The water at the bottom will soak into the string, the yarn, the fabric, whatever you use, and pull itself up by osmosis. You have to make sure that the first time you do this, at least, you put water on the top as well. I'm gonna wait till after I put my seed in to do that, because otherwise the surface tension of the water will stop this from working. So you've got to get the dirt nicely soaked before the water will really be able to come up through the string and work. So I have a couple of options here: garden beans, peas, cucumbers. At home I've got some garden beans growing pretty well right now, or green beans. I don't have any peas or cucumbers though, so I might do one of those. And what's nice about having the seed packets is they usually have a lot of information about the seeds on the back of the packet. But again, what's really nice about using the seeds that you have at home is they're already there at home. You don't have to go anywhere to get them. And you know that it's something that you like and that you'll eat because you had it there at home. So that's why the squash was so great for me. I'm also saving some lemon seeds and trying to start an avocado seed growing. So we'll see how that goes, along with several other things. And I would love to see, if you guys have gardens at home, I'd love to see pictures of those. If you have planters at home, I would love to see pictures of those. I'm always looking for new ideas and things to try out. So please, just like all of our projects, if you make one of these things, or even if you just want to share pictures of the garden that you already have at home, then please send them on to camp@campsummittx.org, or post them on Facebook or Instagram and tag us, hashtag Camp Summit at Home. So I think for this, I have enough room, so I think I'll try some peas. That sounds fun. And I'm sure they'll look like peas. The seeds feel like they'll look like peas. Yep, they look exactly like peas. Oh, you guys, look at that. Nice little dried out piece. So this says space the seeds 2 inches apart. So I could maybe get 2 of these in here. We'll see. Usually I just do 1, but try 2. Why not? So I make my little hole. This says to put them 1.5 inches in. So we'll see. I'll just drop it in there. I think the deeper the seed has to be will actually be nice for this planter, with the watering coming from the bottom. So I put them in, covered them up, and then I'm going to make sure that they get a lot of water from the top so that our watering system can work. So there you have it. This can be inside, it can be outside, really anywhere that works for you. Just make sure that if you put it outside that it's not somewhere that's in full sun in the hottest part of the day. And also wherever you put it, make sure it's not somewhere that's gonna get knocked over. If you wanted to put tape around this, you could. You'd have to pull the tape off to lift the top and add more water, but if you wanted to make it more sturdy that way, you could. The nice thing about these two is that you can take a permanent marker and just write with the marker on the plastic what plant is inside. So easy way to label what your plants are. So I hope this has given you guys some good ideas. I hope that you get to play in some dirt today because it's just so fun. And I would love to see all of the things that you grow, all the creations that you guys come up with. I know you're such a cool, inventive bunch. So please send us your stuff. I'd love to see it. And have a really wonderful day. Bye, family.